Allow me to present to you the pinnacle of motorsport, the Arrive and Drive Go-Karting session. Armed with my semi-professional racing sidekick Ben, we decided to rock up to rental go-karting on a Sunday afternoon to see how many people we could overtake in our 15-minute session. And let me tell you, there was carnage. Okie dokie, so using these lovely little low resolution images to show whose perspective we're looking from, and let's go for a lap. So this is turn 1 and 2, they're fast sweeping left-handers, completely flat out, and then into this right-hand hairpin where preserving the momentum is critical because it goes onto this little mini back straight. So that leads into this triple left-hander, which is very fast and very flowing. This track is super fast and there's basically no braking zones at all, so preserving momentum is super important. Just chucking it up the inside here, bit of an ambitious move and we don't make it stick. So just following Ben through in this long right-hander. Coming into the most technical corner of the track, a nice little right-left chicane before the start-finish straight, and here getting a great run on Ben, pulling out to the inside, and we're going to make the move stick, diving up the inside, and plenty of daylight between us, and here it goes to yellow flags. So Ben here on the end of lap 2, starting to catch up to our first back markers. So first overtakes here, around the outside simply, and then switching back to the inside for the next corner. We're moving towards the number 42, around the outside, nice and sweeping, preserving that momentum nicely. Switching back to my perspective, I'm about to have a look up the inside, the gap just about stays open and we manage to make the move stick. Okay, so skipping ahead a couple of corners, we see Ben just up ahead of us there, we're just trying to follow him through, keep our lines nice and clean and preserve that momentum. Coming into the last corner, you see that kart ahead just almost spins and then almost spins again, but they just managed to hold it and we both get through, Ben around the outside, me on the inside. Diving up the inside into turn 1 again, Ben switching back to the other side of the track to get a wide entry and follows me through, regains a lot of time but isn't able to get past me again. Coming into the triple left-hander, there's no way around because as soon as you pull off the line you're just losing time because of how much distance you're covering. So slots back in, follows me, taking some different lines but traveling too much distance and loses a bit of time. Coming into the last corner sequence, looking at me, clipping the apex nicely, coming back for the second apex, you can see we're clawing in these back markers, slotting through those two drivers. And this person's managed to park it on the grass of turn 1. I don't know how they managed to do that. Back on board with Ben, diving up the inside of that back marker, making light work. So coming up to our next back marker through the triple left, we're going to have a think about the inside but then switch back to the outside, which is the inside for this corner. Looks like they got a little bit of a fright and Ben following us through. Skipping forward to the next lap, we're at the same corner and around the outside of the number 18 kart, Ben following us through as well. Nice and simple moves, and here I just sort of overcook the entry and I leave some space on the inside and Ben dives up and goes straight through. Give him a little bit of a bump here, you can see just bump drafting back down the straight, staying in the slipstream. We're going to think about the outside, trying to switch back to the inside and we make the move stick. There we go. Ben taking a wide line, trying to get back on us on the inside, but nothing really going. Pushing me up the straight here, coming towards the triple left-hander and sacrificing a bit of track distance, and you can see I just pull out a bit of a gap here, being nice and smooth but covering too much ground and just losing out a little bit. So we're about 8 minutes in and we're on 12 and 11 overtakes. Coming through the last corner here, Ben having a little bit of a look up the inside and I just turn out ever so slightly but not able to make the move stick. Fast forwarding to the next lap, we're following Ben who's overtaken in a yellow period, and another back marker here. They just go very deep and then almost get run out, bit of a squeeze, and we're following Ben in the slipstream up to turn 1, gaining and gaining on the entry through. We let the kart push out, there's someone stranded on the inside but we dive it up the inside and get past Ben. Now here we receive a bit of a bump up the back from this driver in the McLaren t-shirt, who I will dub Stig McLaren, who's actually really fast. And you can see just diving up the inside there, and through goes Stig McLaren up the inside of Ben, and now pushing me through this next corner. You can see I'm just losing the back end a little bit as he pushes. I dive to the inside to overtake this back marker. The McLaren driver gets through, and Ben on my outside. It's got a good run. We're coming side by side into turn 1, but I've got the inside and I just managed to hold the position off from Ben. But now it's head down and focus to try and catch Stig McLaren. You can see these two back markers, he's pushing through, a bit aggressive, and unfortunately we just caught them late enough that we're going to have to go around the outside in the triple left-hander, so we lose a lot of ground to Stig McLaren. Ben following us through here, just working together, pushing my bumper so that we can both increase our speed while we're overtaking. And here we've got a red flag, and these two have ended up in the grass. Don't know how they managed to do that, quite spectacular. Skipping forward a lap, back to green flag running, you can see Stig McLaren ahead of Ben and me ahead of Stig McLaren. We're coming up through this penultimate corner into the last corner sequence, give the 44 a little tap, and they freak out and slam the brakes and spin out. Around the outside, now catching up to these two karts on the inside here. We've got a good run going around the outside. We managed to make this move stick on the 42, but then don't see the 27 sort of half spin just in front of us, and it's all kicking off. Chaos. Number 9 smashing into the 27, and Ben goes through, Stig McLaren goes through, and now we lost a couple of positions out of that. So following Ben through, just giving a little push, looking up the inside, but not really able to get past. Again, he's got the inside for this corner, so we just got to slot back in and following him through. Into the last corner, hitting that apex nicely, getting prepared for the last apex. We get a good run on Ben, clawing in a bunch of distance, and we're going to swing it into the inside and get the move done comfortably. Ben cutting back for a late apex and staying wide, and then getting a good entry into this corner, quickly gaining as we go back up this back straight. You can see there's a big gaggle of karts here. The number 15 sort of moves over and we're able to just slot up the inside. Let's head down for these next karts ahead of us, trying to preserve our momentum here, be as smooth as we can. You can see how delicate the steering input is. Through this corner, just minimizing distance, hugging that wall, into the last two corners, getting a nice apex, trying to avoid those back markers, and we get squeezed out, run out wide. Ben going to the inside. I still managed to carry some good speed though, so I hold off Ben, able to turn in and cover him off. Ben going out to the left of the track, get a good entry into this corner and claws back a bit of distance, but again, not able to overtake in this section. It's impossible. Having a look up the inside, but there's not really any space there. You can see just dropping back ever so slightly as he has to take a wider line. Through this corner, just keeping it nice and smooth, and you can see there's a couple of karts ahead. We're both on 30 and 29 overtakes, so nearing the end of the session here. Head down, Ben thinking about a move up the inside but too far back, and just loses out a bit of speed down the back straight, as you can see. Coming into turn 1, nice and clean lines. Into turn 2, trying to keep it nice and smooth. Prioritize that exit. It's so critical in these low power karts. You can see, almost clawed up this distance, going around the outside of the number 4, and then the outside, which becomes the inside for this corner, the number 32, Ben following us through smoothly, and you can see 32 and 31 overtakes. Into the last corner, and I think that this is the end of the session, coming through onto the pit straight, and there's the checker flag. Ben displaying his rage by getting really close to the back of my bumper and missed out on the overtake win by 1 overtake. Just about to go into the pit, and Ben down the inside under the yellow flags for a dubious final overtake, making the scores even.
Just as much chaos as I expected.
Yes, it was, and session 2 was even crazier, so if you enjoyed that, subscribe for part 2 and more racing tips.